The movie Avatar. Jake Scully is a Marine veteran who's in a wheelchair. So he was injured in duty. And here he is going into this other world, becoming his avatar, and suddenly he can walk. He's got legs. So he's not listening to anything. He's, oh my goodness, I can get up and I can do this. And even though they're saying, take it slow, take it slow, take it slow, not right now, there's stuff we got to do, he's like, no, I'm off. And he's off and running. It's almost the personification of that song and those lyrics, to let me fall, just let me go do what I need to do. And sometimes we have to break through those constraints that we're feeling or those words that we're hearing from people and just do what we need to do. So we are all in the process of becoming. And some of you are probably wondering, becoming what? Like, what is that? The New York Times best-selling author, William Bodie Sanders, says that there is no standing still. You are either moving forward or you are regressing. The world is always in creation. I remember a documentary I was watching with Morgan Freeman, and he was talking to some religious experts, people who have been studying the Bible and religious texts, and they were talking about creation. And the expert he was talking to at the time said, there wasn't just one creation, nature is still creating. It is still in evolution. It's not like creation stopped and then we have the world we have. He said, we're still creating. And as a part of nature, as a part of life, as unique expressions of the divine, we are always creating, whether we recognize it or not. Whether we recognize it or not. And whether we want to or not. Whether you want to or not. As the world moves and changes, and they say again, the only constant in life is change, we have to figure out, our brains are always figuring out, even if you're not consciously figuring out, your brain is trying to figure out, how do I move through this new iteration of life? Because every single moment is a new iteration of life. There's a new world, a new creation, a new way to be, new people showing up in our lives. Everybody around us is changing. Even the people we look at and say, oh my gosh, he's been the same for the last 40, 50 years. Even they are changing. Now, they might be regressing and not moving forward in life. That's not for us to judge. But there is change. And we are trying to keep up with it. Like Jake, trying to get his footing and breaking into a run, trying to figure out how do these legs work? How do I find my balance? When he first got up off of the gurney, and he's toppling around, and now he doesn't realize he's got this tail and it's knocking stuff down all around him. He's trying to gain his footing. And many of you, depending on what's happening in your life, you may feel like you're trying to regain your footing every single day. You're trying to figure out, how do I do this in the midst of doing it? How do I do this? How do I do this new thing? And who am I in this new iteration of life? Who am I? That's why I think it's paramount that we know who and what we are. Like that excerpt from the shack. That we realize that we are fully human, and in our humanity, we are also divine. Divinely human, humanly divine, maybe. So we're always becoming something. I think it's handy, I've used it a couple of times in my life, to have an avatar. To have a picture of something you want to become. Someone that's probably living in a different level of expression than you. The same you that was in the lyrics of that song. Someone I am. The one I want, the one I will become, will catch me. It's all happening within you, and I think it's within that avatar, which could be your divine beingness. That you are all those things at the same time. But sometimes if we have a picture of what that looks like, of what you want to step into, how would that other person, that is me, act and move through the world, think, express? What would I affirm? How would I talk? How would I carry myself? Maybe it's different. Maybe I show up differently. Maybe I live differently. Maybe my environment has to change, my home environment. Usually when I'm going through some kind of shift in my life, there's some kind of redecorating happening in my house. Poor Quentin shaking his head. He's like, oof. I mean, sometimes I start decluttering. And I start getting rid of things. And something that I loved maybe 5 years ago, I think, why did I buy that? Like, what is that? Where'd it come from? And I don't need it now. I start decluttering. I might start moving stuff around my house. Sometimes I move furniture around because something is shifting within me, so it feels like my outer environment should change. Because whenever there's inner change, there's outer change. You're always manifesting something different in your life. So you might be uncomfortable with your physical environment. So it might be your physical environment, where you live. It might be who you're living with. Sometimes you get to a next level of expression, and your partner, your housemate, whatever, is not growing, is not changing also. Or you're not recognizing each other anymore. You don't know what's happening. You're up there, they're down there. You don't know who they are anymore. They're acting differently. They're doing stuff. They're throwing stuff out. They're decluttering. They're bringing in new stuff. Might be dressing differently, might get a haircut, might buy some hair, I don't know. Sometimes people go buy hair. We change, we're in this process of becoming. And so if we have a picture, an avatar of what that looks like so that we can move forward into that someone you will become. That someone that you are now in pure potentiality, but you're not feeling it yet. You're not there yet. You're still trying to get your legs underneath you. And it's all okay, because that's what life looks like some days. Sometimes we're off balance because we're not sure what this is right now. And if you're conscious about growing, if you are conscious and really living a spirituality and spending time in the quiet on a regular basis, your life is going to shift. Sometimes when you don't want it. I've been inspired to shift when I don't want it. Usually I don't want it. Because I like to feel comfortable. I like to be at a particular place. You feel like, okay, I think I got this kind of figured out, kind of feeling my stride, kind of got this, it's feeling good. I know who I am right now. I know what I'm doing right now. I know how I feel about this. Kind of gaining some confidence in it. And for me, it's usually been when I get really, really, really comfortable. That's when Spirit shows up again and starts whispering, okay, we're going to do this now. And years ago, my answer always was, no, we're not. No. Nope. Sorry. Yeah, don't ask. Don't ask. Yeah. In fact, in the beginning, when I was meditating and I felt that first shift, I really just was in disbelief. And I just thought, you got the wrong girl. I don't. I know. Spirit has bumped her head for the first time and called on the wrong person. I figured Spirit should have been next door talking to whoever lives there and telling them to do what I just heard. Yeah. Can't be, because, you didn't check in with me first to see if I was ready for this. But it's all okay. And again, if you're spending time in the quiet, then you do know, you can discern whether that voice is Spirit speaking to you. Or if it's just some niggly little voice that's showing up from your past, your fears, your doubts. And usually saying, you can't do this, you're not going to do this. We're not going there. You've never done that before. Nobody's going to like you doing that. They might not love you. You might not do a good job. You might fall on your face. And you know what? We might. We might fall on our faces. That's why I love that song, Let Me Fall. Because we might indeed fall. And part of the reason why there's so many opportunities that I didn't let myself step into in my 20s and 30s because I was afraid I would fall. And the reality is sometimes we fall. And the reality is you can get back up. And the reality is that there is someone who you are becoming who will catch you or pick you up. Every single time you have something that stops you in your tracks in your life, there is something within you that calls you to move forward. There's something within you who's saying, there's courage in there somewhere. Pull it out. Let's do this. Get up, get up, get up. And move. Get up and move. When I was on my treadmill this morning, it's electric. And if you don't move, and you try to stand still, the regressing is quite evident. And then you're off the treadmill. You are airborne. And then on the floor. And I kept thinking of that as I was walking one step in front of the other. Kept walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. And life is like that treadmill. It keeps moving, it keeps moving, it keeps moving. And we got to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving with it. Keep moving with it. You can slow your speed. You can make it go faster. You can decide you want to run through it. You can decide you want to walk through it. You can decide you want to rest. I can put my treadmill on pause. I can stop it for a few minutes and then start it again. I think sometimes we forget that we are the conductor in the train. And you get to control the train, or control what you think about what's happening with the train. Because sometimes it is just blasting forward. And you can either move with it, be still and know that I am God in the midst of the train moving forward, rather than jumping off, laying on the track and waiting for the next train to come and run over you. There's that too. And how many of us have jumped off the train and laid on the tracks? Yeah. I have a few lines of train track marks on me. I don't think any of them are that fresh anymore. I kind of stopped that because I realize that I just have to get still and remember that there is God. And I don't walk alone. I don't walk as this limited human who's just out there willy-nilly, not knowing what the heck to do. Even though sometimes I say that, even sometimes I feel that, then I have to remind myself that I am infinite. As Deborah read to us, I am infinite. I just need to say and affirm that God is with me, that God is in and through me, is functioning as me, is expressing as me. So I get up off the floor. I get to dust myself off. I get to affirm who I am. I get to see that avatar again and say, that's what I'm going for. And then I do that. I look at the picture, the avatar that's in my head. And I get to see that whoever she is, even though she might be on the floor, doesn't stay there. And she gets up and she moves forward. And I move forward in my divinity. And even as you're on the floor, you are still divine. I think we forget that. We make a mistake. Life hits us in the face. And we forget that we are these magnificent beings. You're still magnificent laying on the floor. You're still magnificent if you're rolling in the stuff, having a pity party about what you can't do and what you're not going to get and what life's not fair. There is no life is fair. Life is. Life just is. And we get to live it as it is and decide who we are in the living. Decide who we are in the living. And keep that picture in our minds of who we are. I don't know what that picture looks like for you. You have to devise that. Pray about it. Be still with it. Think about what it is that you're becoming. Maybe it's that there's been a shift in life and now you're a caregiver. Maybe you're changing jobs. Maybe you're leaving a job. Maybe something has happened in your life, in your family, and now you have to show up differently with your family. Maybe you're going back to school. Maybe you're finishing school, and now it's time to stop studying, and now it's time to go do the thing that you've been studying. Be that. Maybe something has happened in the world and you're wondering, who am I? Sometimes what happens in the world is circumstances, events. Sometimes they shake us to our core. Sometimes we're having a spiritual crisis. And we're wondering, can I still love the way that I say that I love? And the way that I want to love? Can I still be love in this circumstance? We get to figure that out. But we don't figure it out alone. We figure it out, I like that word, co-union with God. As God. As us. And so we keep climbing, we keep walking forward, even though we might fall. And I think when we're starting to feel our power, that's when we say things like, let me fall, because if I fall, it's okay. It's okay. It's part of the path. It's part of the process. And sometimes we have to hold that for the people in our lives. The people that we love especially, who are struggling with something, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do but watch them on their path. And the more we try to get in it and try to fix their lives, we're messing it up for them, and we're hurting ourselves. Because you can't change anybody but you. And sometimes, all the times, people just need to walk their paths. And we don't want them to, because we want to see it so differently. Yeah, my father and I bumped heads every single day through my teenage years because he wanted me to walk differently through life than I was. Man, we went head to head every single day. It was just a battle, a battle. I moved out when I was 19 because I thought, I'm tired of fighting. Just let me fall. Just let me go do my thing and leave me alone. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. But I know he just loved me. He was just trying to protect me. He just wanted everything to be okay for me. I know that now, but at the time, all I knew was I needed to fight him and fight this. So we fought. Whew, did we fight? Yeah, same thing we do with the divine. We fight with God. Which means you're fighting with yourself. You're fighting with yourself. You're fighting with something within you that is calling you forward. Change is going to happen. Life happens. And we get to decide, how am I going to show up here? What am I becoming? Am I okay with going out and falling? We've got to be okay with making some mistakes. And they're not really mistakes, they're just lessons to learn. And then you think, okay, this didn't quite work, time to shift. Time to do something differently. Time to look at this differently. Time to see myself differently. Maybe if I had showed up like I was inspired to show up, rather than the way it felt comfortable for me, I wouldn't have bumped my head like I did. We have so much power. We have infinite power. But you have to remember that. Remember it. We forget. We bump our heads and we can't think. We're still in the bump. Still thinking about the bump. Still talking about the bump. And we tell all our friends about the bump. And we get the story about the bump, and we repeat the story about the bump. Because it's all about the bump. It's all about falling down. And it's never about the falling down. It's always about the getting up. The story about Jesus, that's important. Yes, the crucifixion was important, but really, the phenomenal part of that was that he resurrected. He didn't stay on the cross. So we get to resurrect. And when you resurrect into this new thing that we are becoming in this moment. And 5 hours from now, there might be another new thing that we are becoming, because life sometimes shifts that quickly. And tomorrow something's new, and the day after that is new. Because if you're paying attention, you'll know that there's a shift, and we have to shift with it. Or regress and get left behind, or you fly off the back of the treadmill and bump our heads, and a few other places. We're all in the process of becoming something. Even when you're in the something, you're becoming a new iteration, a new level of expression in that something. Life is never static. We are never static. It's either forward or back, forward or back. And we get to choose which way we go. We get to choose how we go. You can go kicking and screaming. You can go complaining and whining. Or you can go boldly and confidently. Saying, this is who I am now. This is who I am now in this moment. This is who I am now, right now. Tomorrow might be different. And it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Let's take this in a meditation. So breathe, breathe. What's happening in your life right now? If we're all in the process of becoming, what are you becoming now? What are you becoming now? A newer, deeper version of love? A newer, deeper version of vitality and health? More fully you, without the constraints of work that you were used to, without the constraints of a relationship that you were used to. Within a new relationship with someone else or yourself. Are you working to understand yourself more deeply? Are you working to find your light and you don't know what the brilliant you looks like, feels like? Are you trying to figure out your place in the world? Or within a family that's shifting? Are you watching someone you love struggling on a path? And you're not quite sure what it's like to stay out of the mix. and to fix it for them. Are you discovering what it means to let go and let God? Are you struggling to discover what it means to love those who are hard to love? Even if that one is yourself. What are you becoming? And if you've fallen and are not quite sure how to get up, what are you waiting for? Maybe in the getting up, you'll see a new way to move forward. Maybe you can only see your way forward from a higher vista, a higher consciousness, a new way to see yourself. An avatar that you just can't recognize as you yet, but you know you want it. You know it's calling you. You know there's something beckoning you to a different level of expression, and you are ignoring it. And it just won't let you go. Because the one beckoning forward is you. What are you becoming? And can you embrace it? Embrace her or him. Can you let go and let God? The God that is expressing as you have its way. Can you let the God expressing as you have its way? Can you move from no to yes? Or from no to maybe? From no to perhaps? Can you just crack the door open and peek inside to see what's there? What's the part of you that wants to come forth into the world, that wants to pour forth into the world? Just breathe. Whatever's calling you, just be willing. Invite it in. Don't dismiss it out of hand. Begin saying yes to it, even if you don't quite believe it, even if you're not quite ready. Just say yes. Say yes, say yes, say yes. someone I am, is waiting for my courage. The one I want, the one I will become, will catch me. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And you are that goodness. You are that same goodness. You are that same light. You're that same energy, that same power, that same strength and resilience that knows how to get up and step forward. That same love that knows how to walk forward confidently, boldly, sure of every step, knowing and affirming it is all good. It is all good. It is all good. So let's breathe together. Breathe in. Exhale. Just relax in it. Breathe in again. Exhale. Let go. Let God. Let go. Let God. Let God. Let go. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.